India continues to buy Russian oil, despite the US insisting that these imports has decreased. The United States has pressed countries to reduce such hose imports. First, how do you view relations with India in this context? What does it mean for the relationship between India and Russia more broadly?
Well, I can't. These situations that arise between India and the United States or India and any other country, I can't somehow consider them as a criterion of relations between India and the Russian Federation. We have, for a long time now, a strategic partnership. At some point, Indian friends suggested adding to this term, and the relationship is now called a privileged strategic partnership. And a little later, again, Indian friends suggested another clarification. And now these relations are called relations of special privileged strategic partnership. We have the utmost respect for national interests of India. We fully respect the foreign policy that Narendra Modi uses to promote these national interests. We have regular contacts at the highest level. Most recently, Prime Minister Modi and President Putin met in Tianjin for the SCO summit in China. And in December, a presidential visit is being prepared, a state visit with President Putin in New Delhi. We have a huge, rich bilateral agenda: trade, economics, finance, military technical cooperation, humanitarian contacts, healthcare, high technology, artificial intelligence. And, of course, close coordination on the international stage, both within the SCO, within BRICS, and through bilateral channels. I spoke with my colleague, S.J. Shankar. He will visit Russia, I will visit India, regular exchanges. And I heard, I don't even ask our Indian colleagues, but what will happen? With our trade, with our oil? They decide everything for themselves perfectly well. And publicly my friend Subramanyam J. Shankar said the same thing in response to a similar question. He says, if the United States wants to sell us its oil, we are ready to discuss the terms. But what we buy from other countries, not from the United States, but from Russia, from other countries, that's our business. And they, in fact, don't relate to the Indian-American agenda. And I think this is a very worthy response, showing that India also, like Turkey, respects itself.
President Trump threatens sanctions on countries that purchase Russian oil. Do you have any specific steps you propose to India in order to salvage the economic partnership you have with India? And secondly, in your conversation with the government, Rubio discussed India in general.
The answer to the second question is no. In principle, we are not in the habit of discussing anyone, especially our friends in contacts with third countries. And as for the question about oil, I have already answered it to your colleagues, who also represent Indian media, but you somehow formulated the question like this: is there any way to save Russia's economic partnership with India? It's not under threat. I have no doubts. No one is looking at it and no one is attempting. And if someone does take such steps, then I say again, the Indian Prime Minister and the Indian Foreign Minister explained that India chooses its own partners. If the US has a proposal on how to enrich bilateral trade between the US and India, they are ready to discuss the terms that the Americans will offer. But trade, investment, economic, military technical and any other relations between India and third countries, India is ready to discuss only with those about whom it is concerned.
There is information that Kiev is preparing another provocation already within territory of the European Union, that NATO countries, Romania and Poland are attacked under false pretenses, and as a result, Russia is blamed for this.
What are the possible consequences, in your opinion, and will we work on? Informational advance? And will it work? I have no doubt that all these reports have the most fundamental basis. Reliable grounds. The Kiev regime. They have special structures there, and in the media space, and in the military-technical sphere, which are engaged in provocations, as you said, false flag. I read that they are now equipping, they take drones of our production, which they probably also have there. And so they equip them in such a way that there is no doubt that it is we launched these drones. But in the West, besides hysteria being thrown in Poland, in Estonia, in the Baltics as a whole, and in a number of other countries, but there, in serious capitals, it seems to me, there are serious ones who understand everything perfectly well. Another thing is that even in these serious capitals, the elites are committed to the goal of suppression of Russia.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.